Excellent. Hey, LinkedIn friends, this is Joe Gonzalez out of the Sunnyvale office. I'm here today to teach you about a tool called PointDrive. PointDrive is a tool you guys all have currently. I've been using this since late last year, but you guys were appointed it sometime around end of last year, early this year. I was at the Global Sales Kickoff in the hall there for all the different tools, kind of evangelizing its use. But you guys can find this tool in Okta. When you first log in, it's going to basically encourage you to start by creating your first PointDrive or start a presentation. Eventually, you're going to have a portal like mine that'll have, insights into who's been accessing your PointDrives. You have your, as you can see on the top left, you can click on a list for the presentations that you create. I started out with this tool. I had a friend, Rachel Tucker, recommended to me in regard to sharing over like proposals, kind of like ClearSlide, because they could look at the activity, upon the different assets or media pieces that I put in these presentations. And coming from my background, designing graphics and creativity, I saw that how easy it was to build a really cool custom website, basically, that felt really white glove for my clientele. I get amazing feedback from these, just in, generally speaking and anecdotally from my clients saying, man, that was really cool. I love this. I've explored other avenues for teaching education and sales in the past, such as creating private groups on LinkedIn. But where most things usually fail is either the message gets diluted or it's not a consistent step-by-step journey for the client. And if you think back to like all the trainings that we've had as LinkedIn employees, was it like a year and a half ago, the summer learning series in Chicago, learning how to speak to executives and executive conversations, or it be if you guys have taken the Conscious Business course, which is amazing, the structure and how it goes along a story, like a member or a personal journey. I feel like we retain the information and learn it so much better. So what I started using for PointDrive for, and I'm in search and staffing, I'm in the franchise space, so I'm working at pretty big scale the last 2 years with, hundreds of offices. And a piece of it was, how do I educate my book, all at the same time in a way that still feels personal, so that they become smart enough on how to use LinkedIn to where they feel that they, and then know that they need something like LinkedIn Recruiter, exposing them into these things. But it's hard to get a client, especially in search, to buy an expensive tool like Recruiter or Recruiter Pro or whatnot without having feel like they maxed out regular LinkedIn. So pre-sales, I've used this also for post-sales, for education and training. I've partnered with my CSM, Zach Andreessen, to build out learning platforms. I know we do, and not to use the Learning Center, but we've actually directed a lot of clients to the Learning Center. Activity has been even higher because we put them through an experience like this, which I'm going to show you here. And basically, for this resource and this workshop, I'm going to teach you guys how to build a PointDrive. I'm going to show you the different use cases for them and just kind of spark creativity, really. Again, I just took and did the best I could with a handful of ideas, and then I brought in people like my CSM, Zach, or, like my SD, Katerina, and whoever the people that were more specialists in these areas, and they built them out to be even better. These are not time-consuming to create, but again, have had huge impact. My clients are a lot sharper and smarter than they were in the past in regard to their knowledge of LinkedIn. I've had a lot more inbound flow of leads because of this, and they're coming to me with knowledge and understanding of how LinkedIn works and what it is that they need from me and why. So it's really shortened and required less of my time per book. And again, I've been very scaled in my education approach, and I've also been incredibly direct and customized. So I'm going to share this link to you guys afterwards, but this is an example of a PointDrive. Point and click, loading in a header. They can click on my photo. All my information's here. I don't know if you guys watch The Office, but it's like a wolf, right? They can send any sort of communication to come find me, any avenue. Custom banner image at the top of the page I just dropped in. I write them a personalized message like I did for you guys here, and then I take them on a journey. This one is 9 different examples, not to blow your mind super early here, but these are PointDrives, like links within one PointDrive. It's kind of like a home resource to show you all the different examples that I've got. I'm going to walk you guys through. But again, can be something as basic as, how to build your LinkedIn profile and how to really do that well. Or maybe it's something around a specific program or pilot that you're offering, which we did one this year, like a Core 4 program, but how do you explain a complex concept, have it be filtered around that office, and make sure everybody truly understands what the program and the value is all about. So I'm going to show you a couple examples. If you guys want to open up PointDrive yourself to build something with me or just watch and take notes, up to you. But essentially, I have gone to PointDrive here, and all I did was click on New, and this built a new presentation. And again, you don't have to be, genius, mastermind, tech guru to do this stuff. It's super easy. Basically, you got the option right away to plug in a title. And so the example that I'm going to give here is for a franchise organization called Express. So let's just say the Express LinkedIn offering, like kind of a partnership page, right? So then I might send to a lot of my clients, or, hey, your offerings with LinkedIn, or what do you get as part of LinkedIn? Changing a background image, I'll just pick one off my desktop here that I had loaded here. Whatever, I'll just choose my picture. So you could put in a custom picture here, which could have been the Express logo, which I've done in past ones, and immediately can write a personalized message. I always recommend speaking directly to the client, saying, hey, Bill, hey, Sandy, hey, whoever, or hey, Express family, or hey, this is, Joe Gonzalez, LinkedIn. Here's what I want you to get out of what I've created for you. So not just handing them resources, but actually speaking to them and telling them what you want to gain as far as value from this platform you put together for them. If it's relevant to you, I changed the accent colors like a little button link, but Express is blue, so I usually just choose blue so it feels like it's their kind of space. But something like a career page, right? You're building something that's customized to them. And so I put a couple different pieces of examples of content we can put in here, right? So I've actually if you click on to insert a link, a couple different pieces you can add. You can upload files of any kind. The only thing you need to be thinking about here is if you upload something, it's going to be able to be downloaded in the same format that you uploaded it in. So avoid things like PowerPoint or things that are editable like a Word doc. Give them PDFs or links to videos. Big fan of videos. Here you go, video. So you can use Vimeo or YouTube. Or you can just provide links to websites. So, talking about career pages, I might provide a couple like resources as examples to show them really well-branded career pages. But for this one, I'm going to upload, and I actually created a little folder here. I think I called it InDay PointDrive. So one of these assets that I want to add is, where did it go here? File upload. I actually have it on the desktop. Where's the PDF itself? I have them loaded. Here they are. Oh, it's under just PointDrive. Okay. Upload, PointDrive, here we go. So first thing I start off with is, hey, what does your partnership include, or how do I work with you as a relationship manager or as your account executive and consultant for the year for, a new sale? Like, what does LinkedIn have to offer and what can we help you with? I might load in this document, and again, always write like, exploring what LinkedIn can do for you. Might take a little moment here. Another way I can load in content, I might actually put in a video. So I've actually got, for example, people who haven't bought LinkedIn Recruiter, and I might be evangelizing the new version of Recruiter. I can just go to, this is Introducing Next Gen. I can copy this link. I can insert, and you can see there's my previous document that's loaded. I can insert this content and say, great, this is a video link. Plug it in, insert. It takes a video snapshot, so sometimes these are cool looking, sometimes not. If you want a better looking snapshot to load in, I would just go to the actual frame at the moment that you like the picture. Like when I do a video introduction, sometimes it looks kind of silly when I start it. So I try to like smile for 1 to 2 seconds before talking, and I'll capture that screenshot, and I'll actually just screenshot it, save it to my desktop as like an image, and then load it in here, but it'll still be a video link. So, next generation of recruiting on LinkedIn. And then I might put in something. Let's see what else I've got here. I have a couple different resources I've put together. Upload. This company has a big need for light industrial, so I actually pulled a report saying, hey, your audience, you might not have believed it in the past, and maybe that wasn't true, like these people weren't on LinkedIn, but we're seeing a huge shift of light industrial admin and clerical professionals to LinkedIn. It used to be the job boards is the best place for them, and we're actually proving to be a much better place. So, hey, your audience is on LinkedIn now. source where your people are. So I'm basically building out a compelling reason as to why they should be looking into buying this or looking into the resources and products that I have to offer. Another thing I like to add into these as well is actually a video introduction. In the resource that I'm going to be sharing out to you guys, there is a video recording that I have that basically teaches you how to do it. If you want to do it by mobile, that's fine, but I actually use a Google Hangouts on air to record it, and it automatically gets converted to YouTube. And so, I've actually got, this video, I did one for you guys, but basically you would upload these into your channel on YouTube, which I don't think I prepared that slide, unfortunately. I do a little video introduction, which I'll show you guys, but imagine, again, for a client who's showing up on one of these pages, and let's just pretend for a moment that I've got my video loaded at the beginning, I would speak directly to them like, hey, I'm Joe Gonzalez. Like, I'm your consultant and rep for the year, here to help you out with understanding LinkedIn, what it can do to help your business, or hey, to help you get more out of the investments you've already created. Again, I'm a relationship manager, but I also have a lot of accounts in my patch that are new business, so I do both sides of the business. But again, imagine getting a page like this where I have Joe talking to me, in 90 seconds, explaining what this little profile is all about, why you built this for me. Okay, well, it's kind of like a good friend of mine in sales, gave me an analogy of like getting through your sale and closing the door. It's like walking down a hallway, and there's all these open doors on either side of you, but you wanted to walk down and walk through the last door. But you have to address every open door along the way, every objection, every fear, whatever it might be. I mean, we do this on a day-to-day basis, right? But instead of sending an email, with 4 attachments and, a bunch of links, I never expect, excuse me, I never expect my clients to actually go through and read all that stuff. And I find that they never really did. But if I can simplify this down into like a 10-minute little research or 5 minutes, and they can view this from their mobile device, they can watch a 90-second video. Everything is short, it's actionable, it's relevant specifically to them, and they're getting taken on a journey here where they can view this document, from their phone or from their computer. They can actually download this. So, well, okay, maybe I want to look at this later. They can actually download it to their desktop and print it out. Maybe it's a profile tip sheet, maybe it's a partnership, information, or it's, features of LinkedIn Recruiter, and they want to take it to someone at their office. And then they're like, well, tell me a little bit about this tool. I'm not really, I don't quite understand what you mean what this tool does, Joe. All right, well, let me show this to you live. Let me show you how LinkedIn Recruiter works. Like, imagine yourself doing the following, right, with a tool like this. So it's like, not everybody's, kinesthetic learner, auditory, everybody kind of needs something different. I'm a visual learner, so I like to see things in action, and then I can imagine myself doing it. So it's almost like you're covering all the bases. And then lastly as well, the objection I get a lot is, well, my people aren't on LinkedIn, so why would I pay to be on LinkedIn? Well, according to what Zach, my CSM, has pulled for me, is that we're seeing a huge amount of these folks now coming to LinkedIn. Here's one, 2 examples of this type of talent that we just ran a basic LinkedIn Recruiter search for. So, an objection of your talent's not here is no longer true. And so just like our training at the beginning of the year on the new narrative, it's like we have to change their belief in something. And so to do so, for me, it's like it's data and it's examples. So again, think creatively about the objections. Like, what do you wish your clients knew? If you're an RM or AE or an SD or a CSM, I've seen use cases for all this. I even use it internally for my own team, for us to communicate and keep documents together. I mean, it's really, it's a limitless tool, and it looks great, again, on mobile devices or iPads. I mean, it just always looks very slick and sharp. And again, I'll show you some examples here. So here's one, again, for a program we put together called Talent Brand Club, a Core 4 program. Basically, here's some LCP examples for them to go look at, and then here's the details of the program, what they'd expect to get out of it. So instead of sending a long PowerPoint or a 10, 12-page PDF, what I do is I actually save the slides individually and label them and help them to understand what this slide is all about. And at the same time, when people are looking at these slides that I send them to, I can, just like Clear Slide, I can see what they're looking at for how long. So you get insights of who's been accessing. One of my favorite features is if I send somebody one of these PointDrives and they don't access it, within 2 business days, I get a notification to let me know. And I can reach out and go, hey, Bill, so what do you think of that really cool, bitchin' website I made for you? And he goes, oh, yeah, yeah, I haven't had a look yet, but I'll go take a peek. I'm like, oh, super, super cool. I made you a video. It'll take you like 3 minutes to get through, but it just really helps to simplify all that stuff we talked about in our last call for an hour, right, or 30 minutes. And then again, if you're thinking about post-sale, how do you drive more value and more sales from your clients? It's like, well, if you can work with your CSM to build out training platforms, like very simple ones, what do they mostly struggle with? It's strong branding. I did one of these last year for how to build out your company page and do content marketing in a very kind of light version, and then measure the value that you're getting behind it. And so that way somebody at the office who's in charge of the company brand on LinkedIn gets an opportunity to understand how that works and then can be, coaxed and worked with to then buy like career pages. But they can't make a huge jump over a gap, with 1 or 3 phone calls a year. You have to educate them at scale and build these programs out. Nice thing is you don't have to go build the entire thing. There's a bunch of these that have already been created. You can come to one of these presentations. So let's go here to my presentations. And I'll work with, I'm actually close with the CEO, Bill Burnett from PointDrive, and we're working on how can you visibly see everybody. But for example, let's say you really like this, page that I've created. You could just hit clone. It'll make another version of this page, and you can just change the title. It'll be yours, and you can plug in new banner images, a different partnership sheet and details and call to action. But you can just clone the best stuff that's already being created. And we do have a team. I've been working with the sales effectiveness leaders and other people at LinkedIn to start building this out. Grace in the marketing group and sales effectiveness. So everybody's on board. There's a great set of resources. We're going to build some master versions of these and get you guys direct access. But, while you're thinking about it now and planning for the rest of H2 is, what's that gap you need to jump as far as knowledge and education with your accounts? And if you see a common theme, build one of these out for them. And my best recommendation is just to keep it simple. What is 1 or 2 things you hope that they could learn and get better at that'll help you get closer to making that sale for the white space that you see as a potential for that client or multiple clients? So again, it's the same story, but it's like where are they at in the journey, and let's help them get there in a simple, easy way. This is one I'm really proud of. This is a pilot that, cross my fingers, it's going to close in the next like 2-3 weeks here. I visited this company out in Sioux Falls. They're 200 recruiters. This guy, Matt, is the main guy. He's the son of Dave, and then there's another guy, Ryan, his brother. I met with Ryan, Matt, and then this other guy, Chad, for the meeting. Dad wasn't involved, but he came around for the dinner night before and kind of stopped by the office after our presentation. They've got, 200 recruiter licenses. They don't have any jobs on LinkedIn, no branding. They're just heavy on recruiter, and they're figuring out how to increase their per desk average, and that's what I'm trying to help them with. So Stu and I and Zach and team went out to meet with them and talk to them about Core 4 and basically about just getting career page and jobs up. But it's a $60K pilot. Renewal potential is $300 grand. It's huge. And, on top of this, it's like we had a pretty in-depth conversation. There's a lot of tools we talked about, but I wanted to be able to simplify this. And Matt said to me in our follow-up phone call, all right, Joe, Stu, how can I say all of this in like 3 sentences? And we're like, wow. Okay, and we gave him something to say, but I said, you know what, Matt, let me create like a little miniature website for you that you can then share to your dad and to Ryan, because they're going to be included on the purchasing decision. And so this way the message doesn't get diluted. I wrote him a personalized message saying how great it was to meet with them, to talk about what we're solving for, driving a higher per desk average. I then did a video. It's a little long. Going back on it, I'd probably do it just a little bit shorter, but I spent about 4 or 5 minutes explaining what we were solving for and how LinkedIn works. And I was speaking directly to, I said, hi, Matt, hey, Dave, hey, Ryan, so great spending time with you guys. And then I also flipped the screen on my video halfway through, and I showed them like a live example on LinkedIn. So I turned it over to my screen midway and walked them through like how their jobs would look, what a great career page looks like, what their brand looks like now, just so they get the verbal from me and they get the follow-up, live example on LinkedIn. So video, I did a tool-by-tool walkthrough, which was pretty simply just, different examples of what they'd be purchasing, job slots, their recruitment ads, and their career page. And then I talked about what this full solution would look like as far as pricing, so a breakdown on the pilot offering versus renewal. And lastly, their expectations and KPIs, how we'd measure it. So very simple. Again, introductory video speaking directly to them. They know this isn't like a mass spread message. I'm actually building something and recording something just for them. It took me like, obviously the 15-minute recording, but maybe I spent 20 minutes doing it. But hey, 20 minutes for a $300,000 potential renewal is worth the time. But this is an example that I had that I thought was, a great way to really wow them. Matt, Dave, and Ryan all came back to me and said, what is this platform? How are you building these? Like, we want to use something like this. We thought this was really professional and really neat. We loved your video. Like, we totally understand how this works. It's just been, they've been dragging their feet a little bit to just make their final purchasing decision, but they're right on the cusp, and I'm confident it's going to go through. But again, this tool really kind of turned it around for them, helped them to realize what this is all about, because it is a pretty complex program. So that's just one other example, but again, super easy to use. And when you go out to share these out, so let's say, for example, I was on this page here, like I was showing you guys. Let me do it from here. So when you've built out a PointDrive, you can basically preview it here. That's what gave me this view to see, like, what would my client see if they saw it. So it shows me the live version. But when you're on this list, to share a PointDrive, you click the share button, and you have a few options. Publishing to team makes this live to the rest of the people in your space, which, again, we're trying to help make the team visibility even better and easier to use. So this allows people to clone your presentations if they're really good. But I create a link, and I would say this goes to, I'll just call this InDay example. And I basically hit generate link. It creates a copy here, and then I can send this in an email and say, I built this for you. Check out this awesome website, link it, plug it directly into here. And when they access, I'll get an email notifying me to say, hey, Joe, InDay example or Matt Good has accessed your PointDrive, pilot for GPAC. So I'll get notification. And if they haven't accessed in at least 2 days, then it's going to tell me, hey, Joe, Matt Good has not viewed your presentation yet. Or in this case, InDay example has not viewed your presentation yet. I can create multiple links. So if I wanted to do one for, Ryan Good, his brother, if I wanted to do one for multiple people, I can make sure I know exactly who's accessing it. They're all coming to the same place, but I know which one has actually came and looked at the presentation. And on these insights, it's actually going to tell me from what devices that they access the PointDrive. So if it's a computer or a tablet, where they accessed it from, and how many views and how long and what assets they're viewing. So excellent stuff there. That's really kind of the meat of it. I'm going to send more to you guys in a separate page I built for you to teach you more about the tool, but that's how you guys basically build and share these out. If you want to go look at presentations that are already created, go to PointDrive, click on presentations. You won't have any yet potentially, maybe you do. Click on team, and this will show you other PointDrives that are available for you guys already. So you can always go to load more results. You'll notice which teams you're on by hitting the category here. I have access to everyone's. Not everyone is on the same ones, but you should be in your respective groups here. So LCS Namer, I'm sure many of you will be on this. There's one specifically for RMs, my team. But again, we're going to make sure that you guys have availability to look at everyone. So if I were to send you one, you could then go and clone it. But let's say that you got one of these guys from me and you're like, Joe, I really liked it and I want to copy what you've made. I don't know how to clone it from somewhere else. You can always go to one of these that we've built and just go and download each of the assets or the links to these videos. As you can see, when you watch the video, there's actually the link as well for YouTube. So you can actually go to these links and just copy and paste. So if you find the PointDrive today that you want to go recreate and you don't know how to go find it and clone it, I would just go to the actual page itself and start downloading all the assets and little pieces they have on it and just go ahead and start building your own today. So, but excellent tool, get creative. I evangelize this a lot with a lot of different groups. Really, again, it's just a customized experience. Think about taking them on a member journey and really, keep it short, keep it personalized if you can. Again, I'm going to show you guys how to make those video introductions, which are really cool and really powerful. They love seeing you guys on those. I want to make that a habit of ours, so that would be pretty neat. But if you guys have any questions, I will stay on the line for you. Otherwise, I hope you have an awesome InDay. So I will stay on. If anybody has any questions, I'm on the chat. You can feel free to send me any. while we're still on here and while I'm waiting for any questions to pop through, and feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like, is I built one in here for, let's see here. It's a cool one we made for a new user effectiveness plan. So again, not to skip over telling your clients to go to the Learning Center, but this is basically the Learning Center in links. And I think Joe Rocha made this one, I've copied, but basically these are deep links to the Learning Center within LinkedIn Recruiter. And my clients really like getting a page like this instead of me saying, hey, go and click on training, go to the Learning Center. This is one other way that I've said, oh, I built you a custom learning plan. Here's track 1 is learn all the basics and fundamentals. And then after that, I go, great, and then I'll build a more advanced version for Recruiter. I've used this for Sales Navigator. Every other piece of the puzzle, I've just said, here are all the aspects of a great recruiter on LinkedIn. And if you have a client who's really excited and interested to just take it as far as it can go, I'll build out basic, this kind of a page, an intermediate version of using LinkedIn Recruiter, and then an advanced section. No long-winded, hour-long trainings, just all 10 to 15-minute or 2-minute tutorials or little drills for them to do. But again, all I got to do is clone it, put a new logo in, and then send it to another client, and they feel like they've got this amazing, amazing space to learn and develop and grow. So, and another little piece too, what's pretty neat about PointDrive is they can keep the exact same link, and let's say, my client had another question about that pilot proposal. Well, I could actually add in more assets to this page later on or change something, or maybe it's for, again, a training page. I can keep adding to it, and they can keep coming back to access the same page, but now it's been uploaded with more content. So I've done things like that as well, in waves, through a pilot period, create a single hub for everything that they need to know LinkedIn. And I like this idea, too, of putting point drives within point drives. You can create a learning library within one of these pages and just link them to the stuff that you feel is most important to them, and it's going to help you to drive more sales from their business, right, to be more successful. So unless you guys have any more questions, I'm not really getting any through the feed, I'm going to hit stop on the record, but I hope you guys have a great InDay. Thanks for joining me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the presentations and creativity you guys produce. Reach out to me, email me, connect with me, whatever. If you have questions or ideas or want to share something, I love this stuff, so can't wait to hear how it's working for you. Take care.